The rain fell on the emperor and the sleigh without a care. The lightning doesn't ask your name before it fills the air. What comes is what comes, unscheduled, uninvited roar. The only question left standing is the one inside your jaw. Epictetus was enslaved. The world had closed its door, but the space between the wound and his response, that was his floor. That gap is where he built his throne, his philosophy, his peace. The event is just the opening note, the response is the release. It's not what happens to you, no, it's how you meet the blow. The storm does not determine you, it's where you choose to go. Between the strike and the bell, there's a breath where you are free. React with grace and intention, that's the Stoic's decree. The vibraphone keeps ringing after fingers lift the key. The resonance is yours to manage, damp it or let it be. Lo-fi jazz is honest, it contains the scratch and hiss, but the melody decides its shape regardless of all this. Someone took your seat, your credit, threw shade at your name. Someone left without explaining, the world played its old game. But you in the aftermath, you in the quiet that remains. You're the author of the sequel, written after all the pains. It's not what happens to you, no, it's how you meet the blow. The storm does not determine you, it's where you choose to go. Between the strike and the bell, there's a breath where you are free. React with grace and intention, that's the Stoic's decree. Epictetus drew the dichotomy in chalk across the ground. What's yours and what is not yours? Learn to know the sound. External things belong to fate, but your will is yours alone. How you lift from every falling is the thing you own. The city throws its headlines like a flood against the door. The algorithm feeds your feed and then it feeds you more. You're under siege by circumstances, dressed as destiny, but the response is sovereign territory. Choose your face before the mirror of what morning brings. Choose your posture toward the arrow before the arrow stings. Practice the response in stillness so the habit meets the real. Between the cause and the effect, that gap is how you heal. It's not what happens to you, no, it's how you meet the blow. The storm does not determine you, it's where you choose to go. Between the strike and the bell, there's a breath where you are free. React with grace and intention, that's the Stoic's decree. They told me the race belongs to whoever runs the fastest. They said the summit only rewards the mountain's bravest. But I watched the tortoise pass the hare asleep in clover. I watched the creek carve stone before the flooding season's over. Don't measure your march by how far others ran today. Don't shame the inch you covered when a mile felt far away. One foot in front of the other is a philosophy enough. The only move that fails you is the one you give up. It does not matter how slowly, slowly, slowly you go. Long as you don't stop moving, you're putting on a show. The path don't ask for speed, it only asks for the will. Keep your feet moving forward, that's the ancient skill. Lo-fi guitar wavers like a lantern in the wind, patient as the river that has always been disciplined. Jazz chord floats above it like a cloud that doesn't rush. Even rain is patient, it just waits to become a rush. You've been creeping through this chapter since the opening page. You've been grinding through this season like a pilgrim in a cage. But the cage was never locked, friend, and the road has never closed. Every single step you've taken is a victory disclosed. It does not matter how slowly, slowly, slowly you go. Long as you don't stop moving, you're putting on a show. The path don't ask for speed, it only asks for the will. Keep your feet moving forward, that's the ancient skill. Confucius walked the kingdoms with his students in tow, teaching virtue city by city through rejection and snow. Nobody remembered every door that closed in his face. History remembered every lesson, every quiet grace. The night shift nurse, the student on their 5th revision draft, the parent up at midnight on the long recovery path, the artist on their 100th page of work nobody's seen. Every slow persistence is the truest discipline. Speed is just a number, and the clock is just a frame. The one who keeps on walking writes their name into the game. So if you're barely moving, if today was one small inch, you didn't stop. And that is why you haven't hit the bench. It does not matter how slowly, slowly, slowly you go. Long as you don't stop moving, you're putting on a show. The path don't ask for speed, it only asks for the will. Keep your feet moving forward, that's the ancient skill. That's the ancient skill. Hand you conclusions wrapped in ancient certified authority. They say don't ask for reasons, trust the voice of the majority. The church, the king, the textbook, and the talking head at night, all serving pre-digested thoughts and calling it the light. But Kant stood at the threshold of the age and rang the bell. Sapere, dare to know. Don't settle for the shell. The tutor and the priest are scaffolding, not walls. Grow up and use your reason when the scaffolding falls. Dare to know, have courage, use your own mind. Don't let fear of thinking leave your best thoughts behind. The enlightenment is not a day, it's a daily choice you make to think for yourself completely. Everything else is fate. The funk guitar cuts through the comfortable complacency. A chord that asks a question instead of offering a decree. The brass is bold and brassy, it doesn't wait for permission. This is the sound of reason claiming its position. You've been trusting other maps to navigate your inner ground. You've been borrowing convictions like a second-hand profound. But understanding born from someone else's labor is a meal someone else ate. You're just reading the flavor. Dare to know, have courage, use your own mind. Don't let fear of thinking leave your best thoughts behind. The enlightenment is not a day, it's a daily choice you make to think for yourself completely. Everything else is fake. Kant said laziness and cowardice, so why most people stay in comfortable minority of thought throughout their days. It's pleasant to be led, oh, it's so much easier to let the guardian think for you, but you're the one who disappears. Late night in the city hums with questions in the static. The radio says things that should be treated as dramatic. Every voice that tells you what to think about the world is offering a product, and you must check what's being sold. Read the primary source and not the summary of the claim. Ask the inconvenient questions that make comfortable things a shame. Your own understanding may be rougher than the polished norm, but a truth you forged yourself is worth more than a borrowed storm. Dare to know, have courage, use your own mind. Don't let fear of thinking leave your best thoughts behind. The enlightenment is not a day, it's a daily choice you make to think for yourself completely. Everything else is fake. Everything else is fake. We say we're out of time, but the clock gave us the same. It gave the sculptor and the scroller just the same refrain. 24 hours on the dial, the same for every soul. The question is, what fills the hours? Empty glass or full? Seneca wrote letters from the edge of his last years. He said the tragedy of living wasn't death, it was the years. The years we fed to idleness, to worry, to the crowd. The years we lived on other people's terms and called it proud. It's not that we have too little time, But the hour's here, there's living left yet. Trombone growls beneath the neon. Somebody's burning late. Somebody's burning through the night for something worth the wait. The others burn the same hours on whatever flickered bright. Seneca would say, one life well lived outweighs the borrowed night. Leisure is a gift that must be guarded like a flame. Busyness is a disguise that many wear in fortune's name. But the man who's always rushing is the man who never lives. The hour truly spent in depth is all that meaning gives. It's not that we have too little time, we waste what we've been given. We scatter it like water on sand and wonder why we're driven to the edge of life with nothing in our hands but old regret. We squander it, but the hour's here, there's living left yet. Retire into yourself when the crowd gets loud and steep. Don't lend your finest hours to the company of cheap. Choose the conversation that illuminates the soul. The book, the music, the silence, these are how you grow whole. The record plays one side and then it's done, you flip or stop. The needle doesn't wait for you to choose what's at the top. Time is that record spinning, whether tuned in or away. Seneca is asking, what exactly did you play today? Not the hours burned in hollow scroll, an engineered distraction, but the hours given over to a purposeful transaction. A letter written, a depth traversed, a moment fully met. That the clock is not your enemy, the waste is what to thread. It's not that we have too little time, we waste what we've been given. We scatter it like water on sand and wonder why we're driven to the edge of life with nothing in our hands but old regret. We squander it, but the hour's here, there's living left yet. Standing at the trailhead with 1,000 miles ahead. The pack is full of everything the guidebook says you need. But the only weight that matters is the first foot leaving ground. The map is just a dream until the first step makes the sound. Every monument was once a grain of sand in someone's hand. Every ocean you've imagined was a teardrop on the land. The distance is a fiction of a mind that counts too far. Come back to where your feet are, that's exactly where you are. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with just one step. Don't count what lies before you, count what lives inside your chest. Put the compass down and feel the ground beneath your shoe. The first inch is the hardest, and it's all that's asked of you. The bass groove settles in like water, finding level ground. Lo-fi static dresses up the space between each sound. This is Tao in music, not the forcing but the flow. The paradox of mastery is learning how to go slow. You've been mapping out the journey for so long, you've worn a groove. In the planning, in the listing, in the calculus of proof. But the Tao Te Ching is watching with a patient half smile. You've already done the 1,000 steps, you did them all in style. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with just one step. Don't count what lies before you, count what lives inside your chest. Put the compass down and feel the ground beneath your shoe. The first inch is the hardest, and it's all that's asked of you. Lao Tzu didn't write a training program or a plan. He wrote the way of water, wrote the nature of the land. The water doesn't try to cross the valley, it just goes. The step you're always waiting for is one the body knows. Late evening, city lamplight on the wet pavement below. The saxophonist packs his case, but first he plays one note. That one note was the 1,000 miles of practice in a phrase. The single step that started everything, a young kid in a haze. The dissertation starts with one sentence on a page. The painting starts with one brushstroke, so does every age. The conversation that will change your life begins with hi. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with asking, why not try? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with just one step. Don't count what lies before you, count what lives inside your chest. Put the compass down and feel the ground beneath your shoe. The first inch is the hardest, and it's all that's asked of you. She passes you on Tuesday with a look you can't quite read. He orders black coffee and stares at something you can't see. The man who cut you off today, you honked and cursed his name. But under that dashboard, something burned he couldn't tame. We walk in private armor through the avenues of hurt. The smile is just a postcard of what's happening in the dirt. The colleague who snapped at you was 3 days without sleep. The stranger in the corner has a grief too wide and deep. Be kind, for everyone you meet is carrying a war they never let you see complete. The quiet battles rage behind the ordinary face. Be kind, it costs you nothing, gives them breathing space. Trumpet climbs above the rooftops like a signal for the lost. A melody for everyone who's counted up the cost. The bass stays low and patient underneath the higher cry, holding up the melody the way that kindness holds alive. Nobody's phone is lit. Nobody knows the breakdown that just happened in the pit. The loud one and the sullen one and everyone between are soldiering through something that your eyes had never seen. Be kind, for everyone you meet is carrying a war they never let you see complete. The quiet battles rage behind the ordinary face. Be kind, it costs you nothing, gives them breathing space. Plato wrote of shadows cast on walls inside a cave. We see the silhouette, not the battle or the brave. Every silhouette you pass contains a world complete, a universe of struggle echoed in their heartbeat. Late night at the record shop, the clerk looks hollow-eyed. She found the groove you needed and she set the rest aside. You almost complained about the wait, the line moved slow today, but she'd been holding something heavy since the break of day. Give the word that cost you nothing, give the pause, the nod, the grace. Let the kindness be the lamplight in a complicated space. You don't need to know the story to respond to what is true. Everyone is in a battle, and so, beloved, are you. Be kind, for everyone you meet is carrying a war they never let you see complete. The quiet battles rage behind the ordinary face. Be kind, it costs you nothing, gives them breathing space. Gives them breathing space. Before the sun breaks through and the city starts to hum, I sit with what I'm thinking of, the harvest and the drum. The mind's a piece of land that will grow whatever seed you sow. Plant thorns and get a thicket, plant patience, watch it grow. The emperor wrote by lamplight what the masses never knew. The crowns don't bring contentment, it's the thinking that does. Your palace can be marble, your court can shine like glass, but a bitter train of thought will make beauty fail to last. The happiness of your life is where your mind decides to live, not in gold or in power, but in every thought you give. Tend the garden of your thinking, weed the worry, prune the fear. Quality of thought is the only crown that's clear. Funk bass creeps in like a question down a candlelit hall. Saxophone agrees with you and leans against the wall. The groove is philosophical, it It's loose but it is grounded, like stoic meditation that leaves no one confounded. You can't control the weather or the gossip in the street. You can't control the outcome of the people that you meet, but the commentary running through your mind, that's yours alone. The quality of that inner voice determines what you've grown. The happiness of your life is where your mind decides to live, not in gold or in power, but in every thought you give. Tend the garden of your thinking, weed the worry, prune the fear. Quality of thought is the only crown that's clear. Marcus rode in transit, wrote between the battles and the blood. He didn't wait for stillness, he found it in the mud. Every moment is a meditation, if you choose the frame. Every breath a chance to start your inner garden over again. Late night in the low light, the record turns and turns. The needle reads the groove the way a thoughtful person learns. You can skip the scratchy passages, or lift the arm and wait, or choose a cleaner record, choose the thoughts you want to cultivate. The morning starts before you open up your eyes, in the quality of what you let your half-awake mind rise. So before the world comes crashing in with all its noise and need, check the quality of thinking, that's the morning's greatest deed. The happiness of your life is where your mind decides to live, not in gold or in power, but in every thought you give. Tend the garden of your thinking, weed the worry, prune the fear. Quality of thought is the only crown that's clear. Strip away the body in the street where I was born. Peel back every habit, every name that's been worn. What's left when the silence swallows everything in sight? Just a thought still turning like a candle in the night. I doubt the shape of table, doubt the color of the wall. I doubt the voice of reason and the memory of it all. But right here in the doubting, in the question, in the haze, one thing remains undeniable, I'm burning in this maze. I think therefore I am more than flesh and shadow, more than fear, more than a plan. In the groove of my own wondering, I find the solid ground. Cogito, the only truth that cannot be unwound. Roads, keys, shimmer gentle, like a thought you can't contain. A chord resolves to somewhere and then disappears again. But the listener remains there in the room with the beating chest. The mind that questions everything still passes every test. Philosophy is furniture we rearrange each night, but the one who's rearranged and yeah, that one is always right. You can't erase the thinker by erasing what they know. The act of asking, am I here, is all the proof you'll ever need to show. I think, therefore I am. More than flesh and shadow, more than fear, more than a plan. In the groove of my own wandering, I find the solid ground. Cogito, the only truth that cannot be unwound. Their car sat alone beside his fire in the cold, dismantled every certainty till nothing could be told. But in the ash of all he burned, one ember kept its flame. The thinker thinking was the proof, cognition was its name. You've been told you're nothing by the noise outside your door. You've been shaped and scheduled till you wonder what you're for. But close the window, mute the world, sit still inside the dark, and feel the thought arise in you, that flicker is your mark. The universe can swallow galaxies with ease, but the mind observing universes floats among the breeze. You are the one who wonders, and the wondering proves the fact. Think deeply, think clearly, and the self comes echoing back. I think, therefore I am. More than flesh and shadow, more than fear, more than a plan. In the groove of my own wandering, I find the solid ground. Cogito, the only truth that cannot be unwound. Neon bleeding through the glass pane. Another sleepless city night, another restless brain. I got a record spinning low, a saxophone in my chest, asking all the questions that I've been too scared to confess. Who am I when no one's watching, when the stage goes dark? What's the fire I've been feeding? What's the name of this spark? Got my coffee getting cold, got my thoughts getting deep, chasing down the truth I buried every night in my sleep. So checking midnight, turn the mirror to your face. The unexamined life, baby, leaves no trace. Dig a little deeper where the baseline breathes. Ask yourself the question that sets the spirit free. So check your midnight, let the groove roll slow. You can live a life you never get to know. In the lo-fi light, with the vinyl in the dark, the examined life, that's where you find your heart. Old Socrates was walking cobblestone streets, stirring up the questions in the market with his speech. They said he was a nuisance, said he made them think too hard, but a life without reflection is a song without a chord. So I sit here in the shadow of a 40-watt bowl, unpacking all the choices that have shaped this fragile soul. The funk don't lie, the jazz don't hide, every note is a mirror placed deep inside. So check at midnight, turn the mirror to your face. The unexamined life, baby, leaves no trace. Dig a little deeper where the baseline breathes. Ask yourself the question that sets the spirit free. where you find your heart. Maybe the answer's not a destination. Maybe the asking is the whole foundation. Every question bends the night a little softer. Every truth you face, you come out stronger. So let the bass drop low, let the cymbals hiss. There's a whole world waiting on the other side of this. The examined life, it cost you everything, but an unexamined heart forgets how to sing. Dawn is stretching fingers through the window crack. The city waking slowly, no desire to go back to the shallow water, living to the surface and the shine. I've been diving in the deep end, and the deep end's fine. Socrates was sentenced for the questions that he asked, but the courage in his questioning, that courage meant to last. So pour another cup and let the needle skip and turn. The examined life is worth the fire, worth the burn. So check at midnight, turn the mirror to your face. The unexamined life, baby, leaves no trace. Dig a little deeper where the baseline breathes. Ask yourself the question that sets the spirit free. So check at midnight, let the groove roll slow. You can live a life you never get to know. In the lo-fi light, with the vinyl in the dark. The examined life, that's where you find your heart. The bass hums, one last question, no one answers, but everyone hears the vinyl crackle, like the sound of old thoughts turning over. And Socrates, somewhere in the static, smiles. Some nights the road disappears beneath your feet. The map dissolves and the compass won't repeat. You're crawling through the hours, the weather's cold and mean, but somewhere in your chest there's a fire you've never seen. You don't need a paved road when you got a burning reason. You don't need the perfect moment, you don't need the perfect season. Just an ember in the ribs, the drum beat in the dark, a reason why you're living. That's your North Star, that's your spark. He who has a wife can bear almost anyhow. The soul that holds a purpose bends, but never breaks the vow. Through every crooked alley, through the fog and through the rain. If you know the reason, baby, you can carry all the pain. Saxophone is weeping through the neon painted street. A groove so low and heavy, it could rock you off your feet. The city never sleeps, but it asks you every night, what keeps you moving forward? What's the thing you're fighting for despite? The answer isn't comfort, and it isn't being safe. It's the vision burning bright behind your eyes, like a keepsake, a mission, a connection, a love you won't let go. When the purpose is alive in you, the storm becomes a show. He who has a wife can bear almost anyhow. The soul that holds a purpose bends, but never breaks the vow. Through every crooked alley, through the fog and through the rain. If you know the reason, baby, you can carry all the pain. Nietzsche knew the valley, walked it slow and proud. Didn't ask for easy skies, just meaning in the clouds. You can lose the comfort, lose the plan, lose everything you own, but the why inside you is a fire. It's a drumbeat survived another night by leaving nothing left behind. The grind was never gentle and the weight was never fair, but you kept your reason close like a melody in the air. Every note of suffering resolves into a song when you know the why behind it. Even wrong days feel like strong. Let the rhythm hold you steady when the logic falls apart. Your purpose is the pulse that keeps on beating in your heart. He who has a why can bear almost anyhow. The soul that holds a purpose bends but never breaks the vow. Through every crooked alley, through the fog and through the rain, if you know the reason, baby, you can carry all the pain. Don't start the morning by counting the hands. Don't spend the daylight just making demands. Checking the inventory, stacking the pine, giving out orders and drawing the line. If you're looking for timber, if you're looking for steel, you're missing the spirit, the way that we feel. A hammer is heavy, a task is a chore, when you don't know the reason you're leaving the shore. It's a quiet vibration, a shift in the air, looking for something that isn't quite there. The work is a shadow, the wood is a ghost, until you can see what you want the most. If you wanna build a ship, baby, listen to me. In this lo-fi rhythm, in this jazz funk degree, don't drum up the people just to gather the wood, trying to make sure that the orders are understood. Teach them to yearn for the vast and endless sea, the deep blue horizon where the spirit is free. Yeah, the yearning, that's the real key. When the salt's in the memory and the wind's in the soul, the labor is easy, you lose all control. The saws start to sing and the rhythm is right, building a dream in the middle of the light. It ain't about duty, it ain't about pay, it's the call of the distance at the end of the day. A vision is stronger than 1,000 commands, giving the power to the work of the hands. You know, efficiency is a fine thing, but inspiration is everything. If they can feel the spray of the ocean, if they can taste the freedom of the deep, they won't just build a boat, they'll build a masterpiece. Don't give them a hammer, give them the horizon. Build a ship, baby, listen to me. In this lo-fi rhythm, in this jazz funk degree, don't drum up the people just to gather the wood, trying to make sure that the orders are understood. Teach them to yearn for the vast and endless sea. In this lo-fi space, we find the blue, a million miles away, the horizon, baby. Let it grow. wanna stare heart to heart, thinking that's the finish and the only part. Your eyes are a mirror, mine are the same, playing a beautiful private game. But a circle is closed, a circle is tight, if we never look past the glow of the light. It's a sweet vibration, a delicate spark, but the world is waiting out in the dark. There's a wider window, a bigger design than just your shadow crossing over mine. Love doesn't consist of gazing at each other, baby. In this low-fi rhythm we discover, honey, it's looking outward side by side, watching the turn of the cosmic tide in the same direction. A shared design where your horizon starts to follow mine. Yeah, looking outward, that's the sign. Find the adventure in the city heat. It ain't about the ego, it ain't about the face, it's about the pace of the human race. One vision, one goal, one open road, sharing the weight of the heavy load, building a bridge to a distant star, knowing exactly who we are. You know, infatuation is a spotlight. It only hits one person, but a real partnership, that's a lighthouse. It points the way home for both of us. Don't just look at me, look at the world with me. That's where the real groove is. The same direction, always. Low-fi rhythm we discover, honey, it's looking outward side by side, watching the turn of the cosmic tide in the same direction. A shared design, this low-fi space, we find the view beyond me, beyond the you. Watch the sunrise, baby, let it roll. Not just at each other, but together. The city's glowing in a neon dress, a million mirrors for the world's success. We're counting diamonds and we're counting gold, buying the stories that have already been sold. We're looking through a lens, looking through a screen, trying to capture what it's supposed to mean. But the surface is a desert, the surface is a wall, and the shiny things don't say much at all. It's a quiet vibration, a shift in the air, looking for the treasure that's standing right there. The eyes are just a filter, a beautiful light, missing the magic as it's passing us by. What is essential, baby, don't you see, is invisible to the eye in this melody. It's not the colors, it's the light within, the place where the real conversations jazzy kind of soul, the unseen pieces that make the heart whole, invisible to the eye, but clear to the soul. It's the silence hanging between the notes, the unspoken promise in the winter coats, the way you feel when the room goes dark, the tiny flicker of a lonely spark. You can't photograph the way that we trust, or the gold that's hidden in the common dust. It's the weight of a secret, the depth of a sigh, the things that never meet the naked eye. You know, we spend so much time looking, judging the frame, the skin, the price tag. But the most important things, they don't have a shape, they don't have a color. You can't touch them with your hands, only with your heart. It's the rose you watered, not just any rose. The heart sees what the eyes miss. It's easy to talk about the stars in the eyes, to weave a little poetry under the skies. The flutter in the chest, the heat in the blood, like a sudden river or a midsummer flood. But the words are just shadows, the sighs are just smoke. If the heart never moves when the silence is broke, waiting for a lightning, waiting for a spark, but the house stays cold and the room stays dark. It's quiet vibration, a shift in the bone, more than a whisper on a telephone. Beyond the emotion, beyond the desire, is the wood that you carry to the center of the fire. Love is an act, baby, not just a feeling. In this lo-fi rhythm, the truth is revealing. It's the work of the hands, the sweat of the soul, the steady vibration that makes us whole. Yeah, a verb, not a noun in a jazz funk degree. Love is an act, the only way to be free. kitchen when the coffee goes cold. It's the patience for a story that's already been told. It's the umbrella held in the freezing rain, the quiet decision to share in the pain. A feeling is a cloud that can drift in the wind, but an act is a fortress that's built from within. Don't show me the if, don't tell me the why, just show me the how before the day passes by. You know, feelings are like weather. They change. One day it's sunshine, the next it's a storm. But love, real love isn't something you fall into. It's something you build, brick by brick, moment by moment. It's not that I love you that matters, it's that I'm here. That's the groove. Just a feeling. It's the act. The clock is ticking on the mantelpiece, a steady rhythm that'll never cease. We wake up early and we work till late, walking the line and laughing at fate. But beneath the sweater and the morning coat, there's a secret rhythm, a hidden note, a little what if in the corner of the mind, a treasure chest we're hoping to find. It's not the gold, it's the hunt for the light that keeps us walking through the middle of the night. The certainty is heavy, the routine is dry, but a little bit of maybe is a beautiful high. It's the possibility, baby, don't you see? In this lo-fi rhythm, in this jazz funk degree, of having a dream come true at last, that makes life interesting, moving so fast. In the distance, the light on the sea, it's the could be, the would be, the meant to be. If the ending was written on the very first page, we'd all be actors on a hollow stage. But the script is a ghost, the ink is still wet, and the best of the story hasn't happened yet. Like a jazz improv on a rainy street, the magic is hidden in the offbeat, the thrill of a gamble, the weight of the bet. The dream is the fuel that we haven't spent yet. Imagine if everything was already settled. No surprises, no almost, no perhaps. How dull the world would be. It's the maybe that gets us out of bed. The chance that today just might be the day the vision takes flight. That's the spice. That's the groove.